remember the Roberts family reunion at Edwards Lake in 1985? We watched the premiere of The Joy of It All, and this is the way we were. Nita and Curtis. Curtis opening either a birthday or a Father's Day gift. That's John handing him another beer. Nana was there, and Muppet and Wimpy were there. This is Curtis and Rita, Mark, Tony, Doris, Casey, Rhonda, we have her cooking, Dana, Jack, Dwayne, Anna, Johnny, Rhonda Kay, Spencer, Anna, Carrie, Keith, Ginger, and Richie, Carrie, Noah, and Micah, Jay. We did a little fishing, and we played a lot of volleyball. And of course, there was always baseball. And we were very long on games. This is Tana Roberts. Earlier in '85, this is Casey and Curtis. And here's Casey at work in Las Vegas. Spencer in high school. This is Spencer at the regional tournament in discus. And Spencer's high school prom. And then Spencer graduated from high school. Here's Jay at 2 years old. And Tony and Jay. Doris and Tana. Chris and Rhonda. And here's Rhonda at Bonanza High School senior. High school graduation. Doris, Rhonda, and Casey. Micah at Redwater, a Pee Wee cheerleader. And Casey at Disneyland. This is the first teaching job of Dana's in Midland, '84-'85. And Dana and Jack square dancing. This is the family portrait of the McFarlands. Sarah, 2nd, 1986, Sarah was born. Here's Chris at 15. And Wimpy goes to see Casey. February the 10th, 1987, Casey Jo was born. And a star was named for her, compliments of her uncle Casey. We had another reunion, camping out at Edwards Lake. I think that was the year of the water gun battle. We also had trouble getting a potty. Do you remember that? Rita was always carrying more food and bringing us the paper, and Mike was carrying us in more drinks. Here we are playing games again, another game of baseball. And we sang, Dwayne playing the guitar. Here's a picture of Nana and Nita in the backyard. Noah as a band majorette. Redwater Homecoming with Tony and Noah. Noah as a homecoming maid. Richie started the kindergarten. And then here's Noah and Tony. Richie played Pee-wee baseball. And then Curtis had his retirement from Dimension Cable as Charlie Dutton at the podium. And then Curtis, Nita, and Casey at the table. And our one and only family portrait at the retirement party. Chris was a junior in high school band. He played saxophone and went on to get a band scholarship at UNLV. Here's Casey Joe and Jay with Santa Claus. Poor baby. C.J. McFarland. 1988, the Redwater Varsity Cheerleaders. Liberty Hill, Anna Berry stars in the first varsity start. District co-champions, Liberty Hill Panthers. Here's Casey Joe's first birthday. Margaret Marie Roberts was born April 1st, 1988. Here's Mark and Casey and Jay at Hot Springs, Arkansas. And in the paper in Liberty Hill, Dwayne and Anna Berry are giving up their Saturdays and a lot more to Ramrod Liberty Hill Community League basketball program. Here's Casey Joe learning to brush her teeth. And Casey Joe's first wedgie. Richie in the first grade. And Ginger graduates from the 5th grade. Noah at the senior prom. Noah's senior picture. And Noah as a graduate. Here's Nita and Curtis and a trip to Vegas. And Casey and Wimpy. Not sure about this year, but it's a good picture of Spencer and Anna. And here's Spencer playing the guitar. Family portrait of the Budjalowskis. And you know these two, tired of being Anna's little sisters. In '89, we had another reunion. Somebody took pictures of everybody. Here's Muffet and Wimpy. Cecil and Sybil were there. Nita. Curtis modeling his shorts. This is Becca, Noah, Carrie, Tony Carroll, and Anna. And here's Ginger. She dropped her food on the floor. Here's Anna, Noah, Carrie, Tony Carroll, Casey, and Becca. Anna graduated from Liberty High School and in September entered UT. Here's Richie and Keith, and Jay and Casey, Ginger and Micah, Spencer, and here's little Morgan. Mike and Rita, Tony and Mark, Dana and Jack. They moved from Midland to Huffman in December of '89. Here's Jimmy playing a game. Ina, Doris, John, Casey and Doris. Then we made a trip to Muffet and Wimpy's in Coleman. This is Wimpy and Muffet and Curtis on the front porch. Tony Carroll and friend at junior senior prom. Noah's modeling picture. Chris, Bonanza High senior. Chris, Bonanza High graduate. Jimmy and Morgan. And Rhonda Kay is a high school graduate. 4 sisters, Rita, Ina, Tony, and Dana. This is at Christmas time. Casey, which one is him? Here's Morgan and Casey playing the old piano. And Sarah at 3 years old. This is Tony and Dana with a Rhonda makeover. Tony, Casey, and Jay at Halloween. This is a Christmas picture of Curtis and Nita. Curtis passed away April of '90. He's gone, but we can still feel him. Jimmy and Sherry were wed May the 4th, 1990. Lauren and Hunter became part of our family. This is Hunter, and this is little Morgan. Nita visiting with Nana. Jay from the Pleasant Grove Youth Association Pee Wee baseball champs. Carrie at 16. Carrie, all sports banquet. Carrie's homecoming. Keith, Huffman All-Stars. Chris, at a senior prom. This is Nita and Casey on their way to a gambling marathon. And Nita and Dana and Rhonda and Casey playing a game. Jackson was born 10th, 23rd, 1990. Dana was there. And this is a picture of Jackson with Mom and Dad. Mark and Casey out fishing. Morgan and Jay just a-playing. This is Tony at work at Coleman Carney Eye Institute. And Jim went to visit Casey December of '90. That was his first trip to Vegas. Susie McFarland. We miss her. Seth Sterling was born May the 9th, 1991. And this is Seth at 3 months. Lauren and Hunter, 5 and 3. And an engagement was announced. Anna and Danny Henderson. Wedding day preparations. Reception crowd. I see Cecil there. Danny and Anna were wed June the 1st, 1991. Picture of the family. Dana and Anna, wedding reception. Nita and Casey at Anna's wedding. Casey, Tony, and Jim at Anna's wedding. John and Casey and Lauren, that was a visit in June. Casey and Tony and Casey, a visit in June. And this is some of the berries. Rebecca, Spencer, and his wife Renee, Elizabeth, Sarah, Jackson, and Anna's husband Danny. The unforgettable moment of Noah and friends experimenting with sun glitzing at cosmetology school. Jay played football. They were the champs, and Casey was the mascot. Micah at a Redwater band concert. Rita, isn't she pretty? Another portrait of the McFarlands. Jay and Casey. Casey Joe's first bicycle. Sadie McFarland. Elizabeth, district champs, age 12. Elizabeth, junior high cheerleader. We call her Lizzie. She's 13. Lauren, in May, at a dance recital. Tony Carroll, glamour shot. Then we had another reunion, June 12th. It was on the bayou, McFarland's. We slept everywhere. Jackson, looking for Mama. Bathing beauties, Casey, Morgan, and Lauren. Casey and Morgan having a lot of fun. Seth in his own private little swimming pool. Ooh, this feels good in the hot tub. They played a little basketball. Micah shooting pool. Ginger taking a shot. And Lizzie playing pool. Sherry has their eye on the kids. The boys are playing poker. This is Music Man himself. Guitar Man himself. Here's Nita taking it easy. And Dwayne and Jim with more music. Mike was there. John giving Sherry undivided attention. Jimmy and Dwayne eyeing us. And a group having small talk around a table. This is Rita working on the farm. Micah looking for shells on Alabama Beach. Nita and Casey visiting Nana. And Tony, Carol, and Ronnie at a friend's wedding. Rebecca and Dwayne, homecoming nominee. And Spencer and Renee got married October the 17th. Honeymooned in Hawaii. Jim and Sherry made a trip to see Casey. T.D. McFarland. Here's Ginger in 8th grade prom. Seth, Richie, and Hunter. Casey and Seth out the Rumbo farm. Here's Casey dodging chiggers. And Rita, early childhood teacher's aide. Tony and Sherry chopping it up. And Seth raiding the cookie box. Chris going to work at the Bank of America. Noah, glamour shot. Noah and Tony, glamour shot. At Liberty High School, they were known as the Twin Towers, and so called for their height and skill. Stephanie was salutatorian and Rebecca was valedictorian. Rebecca's senior prom. Rebecca's graduation from Liberty High as valedictorian and enters UT. Sarah in the 2nd grade. And Lizzie begins her high school career. Here's Carrie, head cheerleader, junior and senior. Randy and Sherry wed. And this is a group wedding picture. Rhonda, John, Nita, Randy, Sherry, Laura, Arvel, and Sherry. Mike, Rita, and Nita were at Randy's wedding. And this is a later picture of Randy and Sherry. Did you know Casey and Doris had a hummingbird nest once with little birds in it? Here's Micah at Toby's senior prom. And Anna graduates from UT, degree in elementary education. Her first job was at Peaster Elementary. Chris graduates from UNLV. And Chris leaves the nest. Casey. They won first place in basketball in the 2nd grade and first place in volleyball in the 3rd and 4th grade. Rhonda passed the state board in cosmetology and has a California license. Here's Seth and Santa Claus. And Tana Roberts. Micah and Richie. Micah at her junior prom. Projects from the design studio of Rebecca Berry, a 2nd-year University of Texas, were chosen for the cover design of the undergraduate catalog for the UT School of Architecture. Just a snaggletooth boy and his dog. Casey's softball champs. 4th grade, Sarah in dance. Sarah, 4th grade. Elizabeth, high school. And Casey, this is the practice swing. Jay, Casey, and Pepper. And this is Elizabeth and Brad in the junior-senior prom. Casey as a little cheerleader. Ronnie and Tony Carroll. Nita at the Rumbos for Noah's wedding. April 29th. Noah and Kevin wed. Ginger and Morgan handing out seed bags. Noah and Kevin and Crowley at the reception. Tony, Carol, and Ronnie talking to the minister. And then in June, Tony, Carol, and Ronnie wed. This is the bride and groom and Mike and Rita. Mike and Rita at the reception. Sherry Roberts serving. We were there. So was Richie. And Mike barbecued for the girls again. Then Keith graduates. And Rhonda Kay graduates from the University of North Texas, majored in marketing. Robert Alex Spencer Berry was born 9th, 10th, 95. And here's Spencer, Renee, and Alec. 4 sisters' first Thanksgiving at the Rumbo Farm. Dwayne and Lizzie, Spencer and Renee, Dan and Mike clowning around. And this is Sherry. If you remember, it snowed on the Dallas Cowboys at Texas Stadium. It took John and Sherry 9 hours to get home the next day. Patty Rumbo. This is Noah expecting. And Cassie Brooke Crowley was born 12/17/95. This is Cassie Crowley. And Tony holding Cassie. And Nana passed away December 2nd, 1995. We miss her. Micah at the Sadie Hawkins party. Micah, senior prom. Mike's senior picture. And Micah, high school grad. Here's Lauren playing soccer. And Lauren getting first place in basketball. This is just a good picture of Rhonda and Walter. Tony, Mark, Jim, and Sherry flew to Vegas from Houston, leaving Jack, Dana, and Nita with all the Rugrats. But we loaded them up and went to Austin to Ina and Dwayne's surprise 30th wedding anniversary. It'd be a toss-up as to who had the most fun. Dwayne and Ina's roast. 30th anniversary party. Renee made the cake. Spencer grilled the food. And John and Sherry made it by to see Ina. Winning the regionals, headed for the state. This is Lizzie going up for her shot at the state tournament. Ina turned 50. Nita, Deborah, Sybil, and Rita went to visit her. Mark and Tony at Lake Catherine in Arkansas. It's Alec Berry at 8 months. And Spencer, Renee, and Alec at Christmas time. Christmas at the Rumbos, the whole shebang. Little Skittle and Velcro. Rhonda Jean's glamour shot. Doris, glamour shot. Walter and Rhonda, glamour shot. Isn't that good of Walter? That's Walter Smith. This is the Pleasant Grove Pride in Motion Band, percussion section. Jay is the tallest one. This is Jay in the band. Keith at Leslie's prom. May 1st, 97, Caitlin Crowley was born. And here's a picture of Cassie and Caitlin. Elizabeth, homecoming queen. Elizabeth's senior prom. And Lizzie's high school graduation, and she enters UT. Madeline Jo Henderson was born September 3rd, 1997. Jackson starts to school. And this is Jackson and Seth. Tony Carroll expecting. Michael Blake Baladarsh, born September the 22nd, 1997. This is Scott Barrett and Ginger. Scott and Ginger, the bridal shower. This is mom and daughter. Mr. and Mrs. Scott Barrett, October the 18th, 97. Now what? Blake at Halloween. And this is Pawpaw Rumbo and Blake having a man-to-man talk. Rumbo Thanksgiving, Cassie and Alec. The John Roberts Bunch. Danny, Maddie Jo, and Anna. Rebecca, Carrie, and Leslie. Zena and Lexus McFarland. Darsh and Rhonda, Glamour Shop. Rhonda and Walter Smith, July the 4th. And this is Rhonda and Walter. Backyard party at the Huffman house. And this is Copper Mountain, where the McFarlands take ski vacations. Keith at Saul Ross, a low bowl, freshman and sophomore year. Keith in action. He's the one with the ball. Alec, 2 years old. Kevin Crowley, Noah, Cassie, and Caitlin. Carrie's graduating from A&M, Bachelor of Science, Sports Management. Carrie and Jack are comparing rings. Casey and Doris at a company Christmas party. Christmas 97, Rita and Mike. Tony and Noah. Micah and Richie. Mike spreading cheer. Spaz. David and Rhonda. Randy and Sherry. Rodney, Sherry, and John. And Rhonda and Dave Shonk are wed. Mike, Jack, Dana, Casey, and Nita at Rhonda's wedding. Rita took the picture. The reception. And they leave in John's car, the 40 Buick. John's hobby. This is the Shell, and this is the 1940 Buick Street Rod. Mark and Tony take a cruise on Royal Caribbean. There's Tony and Mark off the coast of St. Thomas. Tony and Mark at Antigua Beach. Jay takes a spring break at Panama Beach. Here's Ginger in labor. And Christian Reed Barrett was born 4/12/98. These three cute little kids in a tub, Blake, Carrie, and Caitlin. Glamour picture, Tony. Casey. Morgan was living in Dallas, age 11, basketball picture. Hunter's team wins first place. Sarah, first place at Lake Travis tournament. School dance. That's Sherry, Morgan, and Hunter. Morgan in her poodle skirt. Bet you didn't know Hunter could dance. Richie is a junior. This is Richie and Blake taking a nap. Sugar and Elmo have little puppies. And this is Seth with Gidget. Blake's first birthday. Cassie likes to dress up. And Christian at 6 months. College days. This is Micah. Micah at 21. Casey Joe's first band concert. Leslie and Keith. I'm Joe and Dwayne in April. Looks like Sybil's kitchen. A Christmas card from Keith and Leslie. Backstreet Boys, Wannabes, Jackson and Steve. Lizzie, college life, as a freshman. Mike dressed up. Mike at Red River Army Depot. This is Scooter Bub. Rebecca studies in London, February through August. Anna and Dwayne and Jack and Dana visit her. Anna and Dwayne in London. And Anna, Dana, Jack, and Dwayne, the guys, are serving the stouts. Found their roots. Dana. Lizzie in London, walking across Abbey Road. Lizzie in Paris, Palace of Versailles. This is Danny, Anna, and Mattie Jo. And Mattie Jo, 12 months. Sarah, the Southwest Summer. Halloween. I can't recognize anybody but Blake. And Scooter and Gidget. Thanksgiving at the Rumbos again. Look at the cars. Here's Jim and Seth. We all met this little fella for the first time, Ryan Scott Roberts. This is Ryan. And Ginger with Christian. Nita and Rita with Cassie. and Caitlin. Here's John on his 5 acres. And Sherry got her braces off November the 30th. Look at that smile. They drove this 1940 Buick to Colorado. Pictured the Continental Divide. Blake at 6 months. And Christian at 4 months. Matty Joe at 11.5 months. Ryan at 6 weeks. Rhonda Kay and Dave's first home in 1 acre and 200 trees. Dave is an assistant marketing manager for GTE and Rhonda marketing analysis for GTE. This is Rhonda and Dave and their 2 cats. And Rhonda and Dave at Turner Falls, Oklahoma. Ginger, Scott, and Christian. Tony, Anna, Dana, and Rita. They came to celebrate. Jim and Sherry came to celebrate. And Nita's new room and patio at number 36 Big Oak. Compliments of McFarland's and Budulowski's. Now I know there's a Santa Claus. Christmas Rumbo Bunch. Mr. and Ms. Santa Claus and grandkids. Spencer, Renee, and Alec. Sherry and Ryan on New Year's Eve. Christian's first birthday. And Blake. But you know he likes that tractor. Jim and Nita and John. Casey had come to see us. Here we are visiting in the garden. John and Sherry. Jay and Casey. Rich's junior prom. Richie and Christy's prom. Randy, Sherry, and Ryan, 3.5 months. And Mike. June the 19th, 1999, John and Sherry celebrate their 34 years together. Rhonda lost her wedding ring, so they got married a second time. Picture of Hunter and Seth and Margaret. Rhonda and Walter and children. Casey visited us in the spring, and Tony was elated. Dana feeds her face. Anna just sits and smiles about it. And Jimmy watches us. And Rita. This is Rita working at Cable One. Lauren, age 13. Jimmy at his computer. Surprise party for Lauren. She made junior varsity cheerleader. Here's Lauren, freshman cheerleader. This is Hunter. Looks like the cat that ate the canary. 1999 Pleasant Grove Follies. This Broadway musical, Telephone Hour. Jay doing what all teenagers do most. Micah expecting. And here is William Daniel, born July 14th, 1999. And here's little William at 2 months. Budulowski's at Beaver's Bend. Carrie McFarland gets her master's degree of science in kinesiology from A&M. This is one I like. Rita and Mike's grandchildren, How Rich Can You Get? Cassie, Caitlin, Blake, Christian, William. Church sponsors spring break. Sophomore buds. Jay's top center. Jay and group that play Christian rock. Ryan, 1 year old. Ryan's birthday cake made by Grandma Sherry. And Randy cooks a mean hot dog. Randy Roberts' family, they just bought their first home in Bedford. Sherry is just weeks away from becoming state certified as a court reporter. Randy is finance manager for Metro Volkswagen in Dallas. This is the motel room in the shop. Johnny built this. This is old Blackie in front of the shop. Setting the farms for the new old homestead near Granbury. Anna and Dwayne. Jackson. Renee and Katie, January 99. This is Alec, Katie, and Maddie Jo. Katie Berry, 3 or 4 months, and Alec, 3 years. Ryan Roberts, 10 months. Spencer, 32nd, and Sarah's 13th birthdays. Spring break in San Antonio. Danny celebrates with his Blonde Bombers after the state championship. This is the going away party at Deborah and Benny's, July the 4th, 1999. The whole moving crew approaching the peaks, unpacking completed. Anna and Dwayne celebrate their 33rd anniversary at So's with James Dean. Here's Nita and Anna and Sybil. And Casey playing pool. And this is the front view of the new home in Flagstaff, Arizona. Carrie and her dog, Lexus. Jack practicing clogging. And these are some of Jack's clogging buddies. This is Dana's last class to teach in Huffman. This is the Huffman Hoppy House. San Bernard River. Keith and Leslie at Hoppy House. And row, row our happy little boat, Jack and Dana. Getting ready to take the boat out. Jack driving the boat on San Bernard. Remember this. Hoppies flying whenever they are there. Jack has spent much of the 90s on offshore, overseas projects like this one. They're now on the coast of Côte d'Ivoire. Jack's social circle. More of Jack's social circle. Sharing clogging secrets with Jack. Just kidding. And this is Dana handing out trophies at a swim meet. Doris and Nita having fun in Vegas. And Nita doing what she likes to do the most. And Wimpy and Muffet. Wimpy has passed away, but he left us a legacy. Wimpy's Slides.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos and memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
Those are beautiful memories. As we approach the new millennium, let's raise our glasses once again and toast the Budulowski family and all that live there in Texarkana, the Jimmy Roberts family in Texarkana, the Rumbos and families that are out around Omaha, John and Sherry and all the family that will hang out in this new place near Granbury, Henderson in Weatherford, and Renee, Spencer, Alec, and Katie in Austin, Lizzie in Austin, all that play at Happy House, the new Berry Place in Flagstaff, Arizona, to Rebecca and friends who moved to San Francisco, to Casey Roberts and family in Las Vegas, and to Dana and Jack in Abidjan, and to the joy of it all.